Conditional formatting is like using a highlighter in your markbook to highlight certain things. However, unlike a highlighter, it can be undone. So this is where spreadsheets step themselves away from a physical markbook. So as an example, I'm going to start with this column, the light and dark column. Now, it might be that I wanted to go through and I want to make sure just so visually light and dark are different colours. Now, I could go down my list and every time I see dark, I could fill it in red. And every time I see light, I could fill it in green. So I could do it that way. But that would take me a while, especially if I had a long list. And then again, I'm dependent on human error. So what I can do is I can select the column I'm interested in. So it's column D. I'm going to click on that one. Now I've clicked on the whole column rather than just selecting the data I want, because then if I add more rows, the same rules will apply. So conditional formatting. Formatting is where I just pick a color dependent on what my whim. If I go up to format and then conditional formatting, it gives me a condition to follow. Now it's applying it to those cells and it comes up with the default rule of if not empty. So if not empty, it colors it in green. Just to give you an example of how it works. Now it's going from D1 to D996 down at the bottom of my page because I've selected the entirety of the column D. So I don't want format cells if not empty. I want them if they contain text is exactly, or text contains. Let's have dark. Let's make sure I put a capital letter in it. So if text is dark, I want them to turn red. And I might want them to have black writing on them as well. Or I could put them into white writing to make it stand out. And all I'll do, it's done it dynamically, it's done it automatically and filled them in as I go, so I can see if I made any errors with my conditional formatting. But when I'm finished, I just click done. That confirms that rule, and it just shows it as a little thumbnail there. So it tells me to make it red with a red background for the cell with black lettering if the text is exactly dark. I could add another rule, and I could do exactly the same for light, or if I was being really clever, I could do it is not dark. So I'm going to have text is exactly light, and I'm going to have that go a nice vivid green. Done. So I've got my conditional formatting for these cells, and you can see it tells me it's these cells, it's D, the whole of D column. Now it works really nicely with names and text. I mean, obviously on this one, I could have it where I pick out the name Skywalker. I could have it where it picks out the vulnerables. If Y, then color cell yellow. Or I could have it for previous grades. It also works really, really effectively for numbers. So I could have that if the score in a test is above 90, colour it in yellow. So I could try that, but I'm going to do something a little bit cleverer here. I'm going to select not just this column, but I'm also going to select the next column as well, because I'm applying my conditional formatting rules to two columns. So that will be a benefit when we come to see it in a minute. So again, my conditional formatting box is still open over here as a sidebar, but if I don't have it because I've lost it or closed it, I just go Format, Conditional Formatting. I select the cells I want first. So the cells I want are E2 to F9. So it's selecting E2 down to F9 and it's automatically doing it as a rectangle. It's helpful because it also shows you with a box where it's doing it. Again, it's defaulted to if not empty, colour in green. So obviously these ones are not empty, these ones are. So they're coloured in green, these are not. Nice and simple formula. That one's just as a starter is quite useful for spotting if you've got any missing data. Now I'm going to make it into if greater than or equal to. So that's my options I've got down here towards the bottom. It's constructing my sentences. So if cells value are greater or equal to 90, and I'm not going to have it green because I've already got some green on there and that's a mess. I'm going to have them colour it in yellow. So any scores that are greater than or equal to the 90 get me a nice bright yellow. So straight away, my two high scorers, my star students of Darth Vader and Princess Leia, have already popped up as being highlighted amongst the data. Now, in a small data set like this, it's not that effective. Under a huge, long data set, it's nice to see it visually. So that would have sorted this column out perfectly, but I've also got this column that I highlighted. Now, the reason this has been done is because as I put my data in, rather than going through it at the end with a highlighter in a physical markbook, it will automatically update. So let's give Anakin this time round scored 89, not highlighted. Let's have Luke this time round scored 91. As soon as I put that data in, it automatically updates and highlights. That saves quite a bit of time. So if you know that you've got like the same sort of thresholds for tests, you could put that in and code that. Obviously, you could have the columns each with different thresholds. You could have multiple thresholds. You could have, if they were greater and equal than 80, it could colour in a paler yellow, so you could start getting an idea of progress, or you could try to flag very low scores. So we could have this score of 12 and 14 flashing in neon red if you really wanted to. But it works nicely for numbers, it works nicely for words. You've got lots of options in there. You've got if not empty, empty, text contains, text does not contain. The greater than operations here are very useful, especially the between. You can also start putting formulas in as well, where you start referencing other values in other squares. We'll look at that a lot later on because that is getting a bit more in depth and tricky. But that is conditional formatting. It's highlighting, but so much better.